Welcome to the last impact before Bound for Glory. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? If anyone has seen this and seen my show, I said at least a month and a half ago that I wasn't really comfortable with what TNA was doing. They weren't really hyping for Bound for Glory. And when you look at this impact, when you really look at it as a whole, you can see that impact, the show is meant to keep the company going, but the show has not been structured well enough to keep the pay-per-view. Now, what do I mean? Simply, they care way more about ratings than they care about the pay-per-view. They are literally throwing their pay-per-view under the bus. I'm sorry. Bound for Glory is an afterthought here. When you hear the beginning of the show with Dixie Carter trying to be an evil bitch like a Stephanie McMahon, and if you have looked at my debate of the week on Stephanie and John Cena, you should take a look at what I say about Stephanie. But she's no Stephanie McMahon, and she's just not a very good actress when it comes to being a heel. But hearing that she put a $50,000 bounty on AJ's head, and if you collect it before the end of this show, in other words, you take him out before the end of the show, not only do you get 50 grand, you get his spot. That would have worked a month ago. Hell, it would have worked 3 weeks ago. But the last show before the Bound for Glory, no. It just didn't work for me. And then when they finally went through the motions of trying to have people go after him, Jesse Gardner's wasn't that great about it. He sucked. I know he's improving himself, and I'm not burying him. But having him do it really wasn't much. Seeing Kaz and Daniels from Bad Influence, baby, that was a good idea, because that made it more interesting for me. But Sabin was not good. And I wish to say that Velvet Sky is still a face. You need to turn a heel. Why didn't they turn a Gail Kim face so they can turn a Velvet Sky heel? Sabin's not working without Velvet. Velvet is hurting him. Either she needs to go or she needs to start blowing as a heel. Sorry it sounds so nasty, but you get my point. But when you see Sabin with Samoa Joe, it just didn't feel right, like it was meant to be there. Yes, they needed to hype for the match that was later in the night, but it just didn't feel right. Samoa Joe is supposed to represent Main Event Mafia, and he's not doing it. The Main Event Mafia is dead. They're still going to talk about it. They're still going to show it. But let's be honest, Main Event Mafia is basically irrelevant. It's dead. Having Samoa Joe go into the X Division without seeing a sign at all of Sting, Magnus, Kurt Angle, or a Rampage Jackson is doing a Rampage Jackson real thing that was after TNA. I didn't see it. But the point is that he should be there. They should have let him come back at least to talk once. But he is preparing for his match against Tito Ortiz, so they didn't want to take a chance. Let's get into the Sabin and Samoa Joe match. I'm just getting it done now. It was a short match. Sabin wins. But the point here is to try and highlight the X Division. And the best person highlighted there is Austin Aries. He is. He is the one that was the most highlighted and the most shown in the last couple of months. Who is the best person to get the title? That's Jeff Hardy. I still say this. If Jeff wins that title, he will give some very good cred as well as star power to that title. Yes, Austin Aries is the best built, because when it comes to Jeff Hardy, he just hasn't been seen much. But who has more star power right now? I know you can say Austin Aries, obviously, but the crowd still loves loves Austin Aries, but they love Jeff Hardy more right now because he's still very relevant. Yes, he's a WWE former guy, but still, he's the best person to hold that title. We need something. And the one thing that was irking me about the entire situation when they had the Sabin and Samoa Joe match, then Samoa Joe had to deal with AJ, then, not AJ, Austin Aries. Then Manic came out. Then it was just like a big cluster. Honestly, the person that needed some spotlighting was Manic. He needed spotlighting for the last month, but they haven't done it. So am I thinking this won't be a good match? It'll be probably the signature. It probably will be the signature match of the night. But the point is, you need to highlight your champ, even if he's a jobber. And that didn't happen. So do I believe that the title match is going to be great? It'll probably be a good match. But the people in it have no feuds. Barely at all. And I don't feel any interest. So I'm moving on. The four-cornered match, which made no sense. The tag champ should have been the one to announce it. They should have came out a month ago or 3 weeks ago, even 2 weeks ago, and say, we talked to Dixie, we want a match, a gauntlet match at Bound for Glory. That would have made more sense. We didn't get that. And now we know that the gauntlet match for the World Championships, the tag champs, I'm getting it mixed up because it's frustrating, it's going to be a pre-show. A pre-show! They're biting off of WWE doing a pre-show for free. Dude, it's dumb. Why bite off of WWE on a concept that is flawed anyway? And then with your tag champs that have not been seen, period, for 2 months. The most they've done is with Bromance at least twice, maybe 3 times. But that's it. And then seeing a Robbie E win the final spot, I would have liked to see Bad Influence in that position, but that kind of telegraphs that they're not going to win. Does this mean the tag champs are going to win? I don't know. Bad Influence could win. I hope Stereotypicals don't win. And then it's a question mark about Parks and Young. I really don't have any interest for this match because the tag champs haven't been seen. I don't care. Now I'm moving on to the segment with Gail Kim and Miss Tessmacher. Talking about Lady Tappa. It would have been better if they talked more about their championship match with ODB. It would have been better to say as a surprise about Lady Tappa. But they didn't do that. And they're not going to work together. And like I said earlier, turn Gail Kim face to face the face in that match. Let Velvet Sky turn heel, which will help Sabin and make her have something more interesting. She's better as a heel than a face anyway. But still, my thoughts on Lady Tappa, you guys already know. They're going to give her that championship within 6 months. I hope I'm wrong, but if they do, it's the most stupidest thing. But I bet you that's the only choice they have because they have nothing new. But understand, you only got 5 women. At least until Terrence Terrell comes back. You got 5 women. With Lady Tappa. Seriously. Have barely any interest for the Knockouts match. I just want to see if Lady Tappa is going to come out and destroy everybody. Now, the AJ segment in the ring wasn't that bad. Seeing Aces and Eights come out, didn't give a damn. Seeing that Gunner had a match with Mike, didn't care. In the end, it was a bad match. It was a bad segment after AJ talked. And I feel sorry for Gunner and Storm. They deserve better than to be buried for 2 months and have practically nothing to do. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. Seeing the segment at the 1 hour point, I believe it was... No, it wasn't. Sorry. I'm just getting this stuff mixed up because I really don't care that much about it. When it comes to Angle and Robert Roode, that might be one of the matches I'm interested in. Because I want to see how 2 years ago, Robert Roode was a question mark. Because he was being booed and cheered at the same time. He needed to be booed or he needed to be cheered. He was in between. It was indecisive. That's the reason why he didn't get the championship 2 years ago. And then he had to be changed to become the it factor of professional wrestling. Which did get over. But now with the it factor here and with the Kurt Angle, What will we get? Will Kurt Angle put him over? And my feelings about Kurt Angle simply coming back so early, I said it last Impact, I'm saying it again. He shouldn't have came back so soon. It's wrong. If he's under contract, I understand it. But it would have been better for him to stay away for 6 months, maybe a year, to give us some time away. And then when he comes back, hopefully clean enough to stay out of trouble, because I don't believe he'll stay out of trouble, it would have been better. But the match itself will probably be decent. But I really believe that Robert Roode needs to be put over. And that's how I see it. Particularly how the ending happened when he put him into the crossface. A little, well, I'm not going to say it, but pretty much seeing a crossface put on Kurt Angle, not tapping, doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. But it was nice to see it. Now, let's see, anything else? Ethan, if that's EC3. I heard the Sleg Daddy believe that he's the future of professional wrestling. I believe there's a good possibility he's right. It is very interesting to see how Ethan is. He's got a good look. He talks pretty well. The question is, can he perform in the ring? And can he have a good feud? If they push the man to the moon, he could be good. Do I believe so? No. I believe they're going to fall in the face trying to promote him, and then they're going to drop him. I hope I'm wrong, but that's how I see it. Now, the Magnus segment and match with Bully Ray. Seeing Magnus spotlighted makes me happy. But I just don't feel like that TNA has the confidence to keep pushing him properly. Particularly what's going to happen at that. You see, I'm botching because I am really frustrated about this. I do not believe they're going to put Magnus over at Bound for Glory. I don't. Seeing that Magnus is a perfectionist, possibly a heel, possibly a face, I don't know. He could be an in-betweener at the moment, like indecisive. My guess is he's going to be turned heel. But it's in between at this moment. But in the end, losing to Bully Ray because he got it in the gonads due to interference because of Sting, no matter how you feel about it, Sting should never came to the ring, does not fill me with a confidence. If Sting does not put over Magnus, this was stupid. 100%. They shouldn't have even brought Magnus up and done anything with him. If Sting has to win this, which is dumb. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is the contract signing. I think I mentioned it a little bit in the beginning. If not, I'm doing it now. AJ. I did talk about the bounty, but I didn't talk about the contract signing. I'm sorry. Seeing the segment between Bully Ray and AJ and Dixie staying quiet, that was good that she wasn't talking. At least until certain parts of it. Then she should have voiced her opinion saying, hey, control yourself. This is my ring. That would have really worked with her character. But she didn't do it, so that messed up anyway. Bully Ray isn't like he once was 6 to 7 months ago. It was better then. So that segment really didn't have much strength behind it. AJ, in the position he's in, wasn't that bad, but I really didn't get any interest or any hype for the match. Not until the very end, before they turned off the lights and you went to commercial for the next show. When you see AJ screaming, that's my life, that's my title for my kids, I need to feed my kids. Seeing them both yelling at each other the way they were, and AJ showing the most passion, was the only time I felt anything for this match. Everything else before that was crap. Even though both these guys are good characters, they can do good in-ring segments, they can do good work, but their characters at this moment suck. That was the only moment I felt that they did an effective segment. At the very end, when Bully Ray was outside the ring and AJ was inside the ring and they're screaming at one another. Well, AJ screaming, Bully Ray yelling. I felt that was the best way you could see them. Was that great? No. But it was the best way you can actually see it, and it was the best thing to make me interested. But I'm not hyped. How do I rate this show? Honestly, from seeing the entire thing, even the attack from Bad Influence wasn't enough for me. Seeing honestly, this is a C+ show. I'm gonna be honest about this entire situation and make it very short because I tend to rant when I get angry. For 2 straight months, TNA has not done well. I've said it. They have not ramped up for Bound for Glory. They've been throwing it under the bus. But the ratings for the show have spiked. I am not totally disregarding it. Yes, the ratings for particular shows have spiked big for TNA. People wanted to see what was going on with Dixie. People wanted to know what Hulk Hogan was going to do. What the hell AJ's up with. But short-term gain, long-term loss. They are throwing under the bus most of their talent, the current pay-per-view, that is their signature pay-per-view, and their future. I hope I'm wrong after Bound for Glory, that they straighten themselves out and they do well for Genesis for next year. That is their best option. Let this all play out at the end for Bound for Glory, end the problems they have, and then start from scratch after that, leading into Genesis. If they don't do it, I just don't see a very good future for this company. I'm sorry, I don't. Because Dixie is not a strong enough of a heel to get things over. She's not Vince McMahon. She's Vince McMahon, very watered down and light. She's not Stephanie, the same thing. She's a watered down Stephanie. She is nowhere near either one of them. It's interesting, but she doesn't have the strength. So they got to do some really good work after this pay-per-view. So like I said, this is a C+ show. And I hope you enjoyed this Zane view. Subscribe and comment to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. I don't think I'll be able to have the time to do a prediction. I will be doing my review. So you guys have a good day and have a good night.